Hello, everybody, and a welcome back. Dom Santina, David Westergreen up in the booth, and Carlos Acosta bringing you the production here for another season of Erska, and we are at Daytona for the Belly Up Sports 300. David, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back in the booth. Good to be back working with Carlos and you again, Dom. And it's nice. A little bit of a change, though. You know, we went from COT cars last year to the Xfinity car in the middle of the season to much drama, and now we are running the Gen 4 cars officially released by iRacing a few weeks ago, and Johnny Thomas went ahead and jumped on it and is putting together this new league, and I think it's attracted some big stars and some guys we've seen before and some new guys, new faces as well. It's really going to be a fun one, and I'm really excited about it. The one change, though, is that the Gen 4 car is still the ARCA car on the plate tracks, so that much is less different, I think, than everything else. If you've ever seen one of these ARCA races, you'll have seen exactly what's going to be going on here tonight. These guys are going to be able to stay 3 wide for a long time, 2 and 3 wide, and you'll see some fuel strategy and guys trying to pit and spread the pack apart. And any bump drafting that happens, that'll end in disaster, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Johnny wasted really no time once that car came out. He kind of put it in our chat. We talked it over and let's go for it. And within a month or so, here we are at Daytona getting the season underway. One other change, too, that will be a little bit different this year is not every single race will be broadcasted by us. It'll be a select few, I think 6 or 7 in total throughout the year. So won't be with you every week of the season, but when we are here, we'll be excited to call the action.
At the very least, one or more of us will watch or attend or race in these races when we're not broadcasting them and provide a little update of some sort before the races that we do broadcast. We'll figure out a way to, keep you filled in on what happens during the season. But right now, as we're on board, we're kind of riding around with Jeff Green. He is currently fastest on track. That is Jeff Green, 2000 Busch Series champion. Jeff's been racing in Erska for a few years now. It's good to see him back. Getting drafted right now by his do-good racing teammate Dusty Dewar there, and these guys definitely kind of pushing the limits in practice as this gets ready to wrap up with what these Gen 4 cars can do in the draft. You have to be very careful when you push and bump draft in these cars, because in the race last week, there were several wrecks, including one on lap 1. Due to bad pushes, that is. This is just a little taste, though, I think, of what we're going to be seeing from these cars tonight. The starting lineup's already been set. Last week was basically a dual race, so I believe Aaron Smith is on the pole, and then it's Dusty Dewar on the outside front row. We'll have to double-check that. I think they've set the starting lineup already. We'll see what it is when it comes up. That's Austin Beers and Ryan Barberi currently in front of this pack. And Joe Francis in that 50 car as well. He's returning for another season.
Good to see a lot of these guys back. I know David already mentioned that it's a pretty heavy lineup with drivers, but a lot of regulars in the mix as well, which is good to see.
Francis just went to 4th on the board. Cameron Rich is back, and he'll be in the 17 car this season. I believe defending champion of the Erska Series, Nick Massey, is back. There's Michael Goodman up there. I think 03 is Dylan Thomas. It is. Thomas running that kind of Kevin Harvick throwback car at the back of this field. Trying to get accustomed to the new numbers and a few new names. Haven't really seen any new names yet that stick out. Gerald Campbell's in that pink car. He's a regular. I think they're going to wreck right here. Yep. Late block thrown by the Budweiser car. I couldn't quite tell who that was. And you can see how big these wrecks are going to get tonight. Barberi just went for a wild ride. Good to see these guys having fun, though, man. I tell you what, the last time we were here, we were running into a number of, dramatic races and a lot of tension among the drivers, and it resulted in Johnny kind of canceling out the season because he felt like that was the kind of thing that no one really wanted to deal with going through this next year. And boy, early on, it just looks like these guys are out to have a good time and have fun. That's ultimately what it's about, too. Other than the $100 that it pays to win this race, of course. Practice is over, guys. Be strapping it in at the high banks of Daytona. We'll get the starting lineup for you as soon as it comes available here. Hopefully the iRacing protocol fits that starting lineup in correctly. Yeah. All right, it's definitely correct. Because I know Ryan Barbieri won the dual race, and he starts third. So, we'll go through it. What, do you want me to do, like, a row and then you do a row? Is that how we want to roll through the starting lineup here?
Before you guys get started, hold on, my mic is hot. I'd like to point out, Johnny Thomas specifically requested this song to be played during the grid, so I apologize.
Yeah, we'll get it just like the good old days. And Aaron Smith on the pole for the first IRSCA race of the season. Got it in qualifying last week. Dustin Dewar qualified second. Very, very close timing with him and Damian Leininger for that third spot. But Dewar pulls off the front row spot, and he and Aaron Smith line up on that front row.
Yeah, right now we're looking at rows 13, position 13 and 14. That's Seth Rawls and Scott Crump will start there.
I should start at third and fourth. I'll go through the rest of them here. Third is Barbieri, won the dual race last week. Starting fourth is Marcus Frucknick. I've seen him a few times. He'll be kind of Barbieri's teammate on a team with Ryan Lutz, Damian Leininger, and a few of those guys. Michael Goodman starts fifth in the 44 car. He'll be in a Volkswagen for some reason. Joe Francis starts sixth. 50 car. Gerald Campbell will start seventh in the number 31. He's riding with Do Good this year. That'll be good to see. Nick Massey, defending IRSCA champion, will start eighth. Brian Narducci, a new name to the IRSCA series. He'll start in ninth, and then Brendan Bach will roll off in 10th. Another new name. Nick Indelicato will roll off in 11th spot, and alongside him will be Gavin Hibbs, driving a Casey Kane throwback in that 9 car. Seth Rawls will roll off 13th for the Shift Esports crowd. They're all running Dodges, which is pretty cool. Starting 14th will be Scott Crump, another name we'll recognize as somebody who may run up front in these races. Starting 15th, Dylan Thomas, driving a kind of cool Kevin Harvick car there. And starting in 16th is one of the boss men, Kyle Hanshaw. Starting in 17th, it's Zach Roethlisberger of Illinois. Starting 18th, Johnny Thomas, the boss man himself. And somebody who you look out for on these plate tracks. He's a pretty strong one here. Starting in 18th, welcome back James Heater. And he'll be back in the 11 car. That car looks kind of unsponsored, I suppose. So put your sponsorship on James Heater's car. Starting 20th is Damian Leininger in that Batflip podcast number 12. Of course, he's back in the 12 car. Nobody pick him, though. Starting 21st, Andy Trupiano in the 7. He's back. Had a good run last season, but kind of fell off when they switched from the COTs to the Xfinity cars. Starting 22nd is Cameron Rich in that 17. Starting 23rd, another Shift Esports Dodge, Matthew Bayuk. Starting 24th. And Bayuk's got an in-car camera for us there. Starting 24th will be Jeff Green, 2000 Busch Series champ. 25th is Drew Eisenman. He and Cameron Rich are going to be teammates, I believe. Starting 26th, Ryan Gavel in that 01. He's also running for Shift Esports this year. Starting 27th is Austin Beers in the 19 car. Returning again to IRSCA, starting in 28th. I believe it's Dave Carpenter's IRSCA debut, but I've run maybe like 120 races with Dave Carpenter at this point. He's a great dude, great one to cheer for if you're looking for somebody to cheer for at home. Starting 29th is Mike Christopher, another new name, running the Budweiser car. And starting in 30th is Thomas Capuano. I'll round out your field, I believe, so Getting ready to go green. You got some picks for us? I'll let you go first here, Dom.
Ooh, putting me on the spot. I'm gonna go with. We'll take a shot here. We're gonna go with James Heater.
Nice. I will go because he always. I gotta jinx him because he always tries to jinx me. I'm gonna go with Bayuk. Carlos, you got.
After thinking long and hard about this, I think the only person I can really choose is Cameron Rich.
Excellent. Well, let's get ready to go green at Daytona. Pace car is off. Aaron Smith and Dusty Dewar hit the Geico restart zone, and we are live for Erska in 2023 in the Gen 4 cars.
Both lines kind of working to get together here and build up some momentum. That bottom line going to take about a 1.5 car lead with Smith holding the advantage.
Down the back straightaway for the first time, and already Barbieri peels off to the bottom of the racetrack. Does not want to be part of this lead pack. He's heading to the back. Certainly a viable strategy. We've seen it work many a time to dodge those wrecks, but just as often as they work, they can end up getting you wadded up in the big mess. So Aaron Smith leads us off turn 4 for the first time this season. This will be 120 laps, and hopefully most of them are under the green flag condition. Aaron Smith does lead lap number 1, pushed by Michael Goodman on the inside line, and already the outside line seeing a little bit of shuffling as Fruchnick tries to get out from behind Dustin Dewar a little bit. For now, Dewar, though, controls that outside line, and we're too deep for about 10 rows until you get back around Damian Leininger, and then it singles out. Goody jumps up to the top, trying to get a draft with his do-good partner there in those Volkswagens. See if that outside lane has any momentum. Goody's got the lead for now. Joe Francis sucks up to the back of Aaron Smith there on the bottom. They are 2 by 2 coming through the tri-oval for the second time. Give it to Smith once again. Three wide up the middle, Gerald Campbell making a move there, and he, I believe, clears Nick and Delicato. That inside line starting to fall apart. 3 do-good organized cars on the top of the racetrack now with the Delicato chasing them.
Another car pulling out there, dropping out of the pack.
Marcus
Fruchnick. Yep. He's going back there with his teammate Barbieri, and I believe that Damian's running 16th. So I think those guys are all going to be kind of doing different strategies there. But Fruchnick to Barbieri, they're heading to the back together. And for now, Michael Goodman leads this race, leading Dusty Dewar on the outside. Those do-good guys, they are good at these plate tracks and in these ARCA cars. They are very sure. No, these aren't even ARCA cars. These are Gen 4. They run like the ARCA cars, though. Dusty and Goody, real strong drafting, together. They've done it for years and years at this point. Kind of like Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip used to. Just always see them around each other. They always found each other. They just never did it in Volkswagens.
I don't know if anyone's really done it in a Volkswagen.
I'm gonna keep poking fun at him. He told me about it on Thursday, and I was a little confused, but hey, there it is, the Passat right there on Dewar's front bumper. I think him and those 3 and Jeff Green are all running different ones. I think Carpenter's in there as well. They just
Jeff Green's in the best one though.
Yeah. Me personally, I prefer the Dodges. There's Jeff Green cutting through the middle, making a 3-wide move, just as Jeff Green always seems to do, and almost making contact there. Ooh, boy. Strong moves early from Brennan Bach. He's up to 6th, 3rd car on the inside line, and that white number 33. Also moving up in Delicato, of course, is up into 7th place. Gavin Hibbs is up into 8th. Those guys have moved forward, though it still kind of looks like a pace lap around here. Gerald Campbell goes to the bottom in front of Bach. Just about got turned off that front bumper, that 31 car, making a daring move as Aaron Smith gets the lead back. I think Bach has seen enough of that. He drops to the apron. He's going to head to the back. Now you're seeing these guys bail on the Do-Good duo there on the outside lane as Campbell has dropped down now. Indelicato has dropped down. Nick Massey will appear into the top 10, as he's wont to do. Smith, Francis, Campbell all clear of that outside line. I bet you'll see that one car of Indelicato cut up to the top of the racetrack here once he gets clear, and he'll try to go for the lead here pretty quick. I believe Indelicato led the entirety of last week's race, led like 40 of the 50 laps, but ran out of gas late. And there he goes, up to the top lane.
That's not what entirely means.
True, but you know, at the end, he ran out of gas, had to pit. Late caution caused him to go back and pack, and then Barbieri was able to capitalize and win late in that one. Now Indelicato leading that outside line, and he's looking for the lead. Didn't get it that time. Aaron Smith still holding strong in that yellow number 70. Joe Francis pushing him along. Goodman pushing Indelicato now. Got about, looks like 12 cars side by side here, and then that pack really thins out once you get back past Leininger and Kyle Hanshaw back there in 13th and 14th. As soon as you get back there, these guys are looking to log some laps. They're already thinking about that first pit stop. It'll probably be around lap 30. Johnny also mentioned that these cars may handle a little bit tight once you get some laps on the tires. It may not be quite so glued to the ground, as Joe Francis finally gets tired of riding in second behind Aaron Smith. He takes the number 50 to the top. He'll go for the lead.
And Gavin Hibbs will have to pick up Aaron Smith there and try to get that bottom line reassembled. Francis dives to the bottom. He takes the lead and blocks that run by Smith.
Goodman tightened up off turn 4, just about hit the wall. But Gerald Campbell now leads the top in that pink car. And now it'll be Joe Francis, Gerald Campbell, a couple of the aggressive Eagle guys. They're rolling, and I believe they're working with those Do-Good guys tonight. So a little bit of an alliance there between a couple of teams that have been stalwarts in this IRSCA series for a long time. Campbell and Indelicato working that top groove. Indelicato using that bumper more than just about anybody else there. And that's, you know, he's very gentle with it. Indelicato, really talented driver. Definitely one of the guys you can trust to push you, but, you know, he's the only one doing it. You notice that. There's a lot of really skilled drivers in this league, and that bumper, knowing when to start bump drafting, that's what's going to, you know, keep these guys going green for a really long time, is kind of avoiding those big bump drafts like you get in the Xfinity car, the Cup Series car.
Coming around to complete lap number 11 here. 2 laps into this one, still a long way to go. Holding his own up there on the top side.
I'm loving the look of Gavin Hibbs' number 9. Man, that thing is pretty. I just hope he knows how that season went for Casey Kane. 2007 was not his best year, but what a great throwback there, and looks good to see that red and white number 9 run up front.
Totally agree there, David. It's a beautiful looking race car right there, and he's trying to get that bottom line going here as he closes in on Campbell on the outside, trying to take the 3rd position away.
Full field kind of went up the track there entering turn 1. Not sure if the cars are tightening up or what happened there, but I mean, Goodman jumped 3 lanes and Indelicato jumped 3 lanes. They all went right up to the top of the track. I mean, even the guys on the bottom were a half lane up. wonder if those tires are wearing. You might want to take 4 tires on these green flag pit stops. Typically what you see at Daytona and kind of from the in-car and at Talladega, you want to take no tires, or at the very least 2 right side tires, because you kind of lean on those a little bit more. But I think the strategies will be varied here. These guys are definitely leaning on those right sides, though, using them up when they ride up that banking.
So this pack has fallen to about 12 to 13 cars. Scott Crump, Jeff Green, kind of the last couple in line here that are side by side. Everyone else behind them has got strung out single file.
Bayuk's back there. Bayuk's back there up in the top lane.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple guys have strung up there on the top side, but for the most part, other than that, we're going to single file out here. Here's Bayuk.
On board with Bayuk. Got the in-car camera as well. He is definitely riding behind this pack. That's my pick, by the way. So, he's got to make sure he keeps that 29 Dodge clean. I think that might be my favorite of the shifty sports Dodges too. They got a good fleet over there. Seth Rawls does do a really good job on those car designs, and Bike's got that silver nose. I'm just a sucker for a silver race car.
We're side by side here for second now. Smith and Campbell have gone side by side, with Joe Francis continuing to lead coming out of turn 4.
A couple of new names into the top 10. Seth Rawls, just mentioned, that green car on the bottom lane. Just behind him, it'll be Andy Trupiano in that 7 car, and then Zach Roethlisberger as well in the 23. They're all kind of up here in this front group trying to move forward.
The top line got a run through the start-finish line, but now that bottom line has prevailed. Joe Francis back out front once again. They were door-to-door coming across the line. And now Smith going to give a big push to Francis here into the corner, and they'll take the lead once again.
Joe Francis knows how to get it done around these play tracks. He's won, I believe, at Talladega in an ERSCA race before, and we've seen Gerald Campbell win ERSCA races a number of times. Same for Indelicato. So, Aaron Smith's maybe the one guy who doesn't have any ERSCA winning experience just yet, but we've seen him on pole for a number of races. He's very fast in that 70 car, just hasn't gotten it done yet. But a lot of these experienced guys up here dicing it up for the lead, and then you got some of those other guys in the back that are not so interested in that. The one cat whom I'm a little surprised is actually up in this pack. You just saw Andy Trupiano cut in front of him. I'm a little surprised to see Nick Massey up here in the top 10 early in this race. I would have thought he would have been hanging that Jimmy Johnson number 48 out in the back of the pack. Wait for these guys to wreck him up, and then you'll see him in 3rd place at the end of the night. He's up here dicing it up in the top group.
Feeling a little confident or taking a little bit of a risk. We'll see. Still up there in that top line. 5th car in line.
Let's just remember how his last championship went. He was almost a non-factor for the COT portion of the season. We were kind of asking what's wrong with Nick Massey, and then we went to the Xfinity car, and even then he wasn't really lighting the world on fire, and we got down to the last couple of races, and he was absolutely unstoppable. So, when it came down to crunch time, Nick Massey is the type of guy who gets up and gets it done, and in this car, I think he'll be one of our top competitors for sure this season.
Just like most championships, right? It's when you get hot. Nick Massey had that confidence, momentum rolling, and he picked it up right at the right time to clinch his 2nd ERSCA championship last year.
Exactly. But, new car, obviously, so, you'll see some new challengers, new threats, but at the end of the day, man, racing is racing, and we know who's really skilled amongst this group. One name you'll note that is not here, I'm sure you've all wondered where he is, Tate Lytle. Not racing tonight. I believe he's getting his master's degree. So go Tate, rooting for you, but miss you out here, buddy.
Little swap there up front as Smith goes to the top side and Delicato drops down to the bottom. He's now 3rd in line, while Smith leads that top line trying to challenge Francis for the race lead.
Aaron Smith had enough of riding behind Joe Francis. We've seen that. We saw that from Francis. Jump up to the top, try to take the lead away from Aaron Smith earlier in this one, and that has allowed Gavin Hibbs to come through to second spot. It's also allowed the two Shift Esports Dodges to line up there in third and fourth in the bottom lane, Delicato and Rawls, and I do believe they'll be working together pretty strongly. So, you know, those guys do work together a lot, have a lot of good teamwork.
And then right behind them is Zach Roethlisberger and then Dustin Dewar on that bottom lane. So that's who you got teamed up behind those guys.
Working his way forward, one of the biggest movers so far is Austin Beers. Just behind them, he's up to 15th currently, last lap from 27th. He also got Trupiano up to 8th from 21st, and Jeff Green's up to 13th from 24th. So a number of those guys have kind of moved forward that are trying to race for it here, and you know, so they've taken advantage of some of the guys who are looking to hang out at the back of the field. I was just thinking that Indelicato had dropped to the bottom in front of Rawls to try and, you know, pit here in a few, 10 or so laps, but nope, he's back to the top lane. Rawls actually fits it in up there as well.
I was going to say, I think Rawls just jumped up there to go with him. We'll see if they can pair up and try to make a move at some point. That'll put Roethlisberger to the bottom. He'll be third car in line, and he's going to take a little bit here. Draft and catch the back of Gavin Hibbs.
Saw Goodman drop in behind his teammate Dustin Dewar there on the bottom as well. So a bunch of guys lining up with their team cars here. I think Hibbs and Francis are also teammates over at Aggressive Eagle. So a lot of teamwork going on here early on. Just guys trying to line up with someone they're comfortable with. I think that's smart in a car like this. A little bit of risk to get those bump drafts, but if you're with someone you're comfortable with, you don't mind getting close to them because you feel like you can lean on them a little bit. You've run with them a long time.
With Indelicato and Rawls jumping up to the top side, that messed up that bottom lane for a little bit, allowed that top lane to have the most momentum, but now the bottom lane is reassembled, and Joe Francis trying to reclaim that race lead as here comes Smith on the outside.
Quick check on that back of the field there. Those guys are all single file from Dylan Thomas on back. That's about 18th on the board. Up front, Aaron Smith led the last lap. We saw another lead change there, and this time it might be Smith once again. It's Francis, and then inside line, though, charging back at the stripe, just Aaron Smith. As lap 23 goes up on the board. That's 22 that goes up on the board. We're starting 23. No 3 wide just yet, and I think that's for the best.
Yeah, they'll save those moves probably till later in the race.
I'll say that. There goes Nick Massey. I think actually Crump jumped underneath Massey, took him 3 wide, jumped up a couple more spots. Back straight away. Pretty safe move overall.
Got Crump starting to make his way up as well. 8 car.
And then the Dodge. Like the way that one looks. We're gonna need to ask Ryan Lutz about the lack of headlights on all his cars. And it seems like he didn't put headlights on any of them. Still that side-by-side battle for the lead. It's gonna end. Aaron Smith cuts in front of Joe Francis, and he'll reclaim the top spot. That'll allow Gerald Campbell to lead the outside line once again, though it seems like the only guys who've really been able to go up and take the lead on the top lane have been Smith and Francis. Say that Campbell almost leads that lap, and he's got a Delicato pushing on him.
Delicato back to that second position on the top line. Once again, being a reliable pusher from behind. The top line just can't get enough momentum. We saw Smith cut down and cut down in front of Francis, but other than that, just kind of hanging right there, right at the corner panel, sometimes at the door, but not really getting too far ahead of that bottom line.
Here comes Campbell. Push from Indelicato. It's not quite in time for Campbell to lead the lap. And, you know, when with the car handling, kind of bobbling around a little bit like this, you can't pinch the inside line like you can in some of the other cars in the service. You know, if you run higher up like these guys have been doing in another car, you'll get someone will shoot 3 wide and, you know, shoot you to the back really quickly. In this car, you know, if you do that, you're just going to wreck the field because the guy on the bottom is, you know, taking a lane and a half, sometimes 2 lanes to kind of ride up the track a little bit. Guys on the outside are drifting up as well. Just seems like there's a little bit more politeness early in this race. They know it's a long race. They know that pit stops are coming soon. With that, we haven't seen any big moves. I'm certain we will later, but these guys are playing it smart right now, and it's nice. It's creating a good race. Comes time to think about pit stops. How many tires are you going to take? Who are you gonna pit with, right? When are you gonna be able to get to the bottom? If you're those 2 Shift Esports guys, you know, they're gonna go together, but they're gonna have to go after the people on the bottom of the racetrack. You know, do you want to be the first ones down pit road? You know, that can be a really, really viable strategy. I think all these guys want to get to at least, you know, past 30, probably into the as far as they can on this first run. I assume it's around 30. It usually is in these plate tracks, and then if you're leading, it's earlier, because you're burning more fuel once you're up front. Aaron Smith's been up front the entire race. Odds are he's got a little less fuel than everybody else. By the way, Gerald Campbell led that last lap. Another lead change in the books.
Campbell with the run right here. Don't think he's going to be able to quite clear Smith.
Oh, he does. Ooh, but he didn't go down.
Would have been just a touch too risky here early on to try to come down in front.
That's a move I think Gerald Campbell makes, you know, in about 80 laps. Campbell cuts to that bottom of the racetrack. I think the bottom's a little bit stronger, but the outside line's not really pushing. You know, and Delicato's giving light taps, but once we start lining them up, trying to go for the win, I think the outside line will be stronger. When I run these plate tracks, I try to stay up top as much as I can in the bottom lane. It can be faster, especially up front. You can be more comfortable there, but you know, if you want to move forward from the back, you've got to be up at the top group. It's just not going to work sitting on the bottom. You got to go somewhere. You know, unless, of course, you're everyone from 11th on back right now who's sitting there waiting for this first pit stop, trying to avoid any carnage that may break out. I tell you though, if I was running 15th, 20th right now, I'd probably start to make my way towards the front. Looks like things are pretty calm. Looks like you could gain several positions of track position before the pit stop. Probably try to make my way up the back of this front pack. Come around to complete lap 30. We'll start looking out for them coming off turn 4 each time as to whether or not anybody's going to be coming down pit road. Not this time, however.
Yep, everybody stays in line. The pit road window is open, like David guessed. Most people are probably trying to stretch it as far as they can here on this run to set themselves up for decisions to be made later in the race.
If you work the race backwards, right, you want to pit for the last time. Ideally, you'd want to go 40 laps, right? And I'm willing to bet a lot of those guys in the back have been running single file. They've been saving fuel, trying to get as many laps out of it as they can. Aaron Smith, not saving fuel. He's going balls to the wall, hard as he can, leading this pack. That's burning more fuel. And so the question will be, you know, is Ryan Barbieri or Damian Leininger, Marcus Fruchnicht, you know, Dave Carpenter, are those guys back there saving enough fuel to maybe make this a 3-stop race? Can they get to lap 40, right? Because then you just pit again on lap 80, or sorry, a 2-stop race. You just pit again on lap 80, and then you're good to go. If you can make it to 40. imagine not. I think that's going to be stretching it a little bit.
That's hoping too. We don't have a caution for overtime or anything like that as well. So we'll see if it plays out that way.
Certainly possible that the first round of green flag pit stops could induce the caution. Gerald Campbell led that last lap again.
I think it's probably safe to say at a super speedway, especially as we get later into this race. Green to checkered finish is probably more unlikely than likely here in this one. So there'll probably be a caution at some point. We'll just have to wait to see when that will happen.
You're absolutely right. These guys are going to get wound up. You know, they're having their fun right now. You know, relaxing, preparing. You know, looking at the pit stop right now, looking at the gas, talking to their teammates, planning out which lap they're going to go. You know, Carlos can attest on Thursday. I don't think my team talked about the race once until the last 10 laps or so. You know, we were on doing alternate pit strategies. We were talking about what lap to come in. We were in Talladega. It's the same thing. Tell you what, Carlos. I think that car right there, running last, I think he's doing that on purpose. Pulling the old Dale Jarrett. And if there's a car that's able to save fuel, it's almost certainly that one. We're getting close to 40. I'm wondering how long these guys can go. Aaron Smith still hasn't pitted, and he's the first one who's going to have to.
I was just going to say, it's about to get pretty busy here in the next couple laps. They're going to have to come at some point. Possibly within.
Go ahead.
Possibly within the next 5 laps. Definitely within the next 10.
Right. Well, looking for some indication on the chat as to who's coming when. None so far. Nobody's called it out. But again, I think that yellow car will be the first one to need to pit. And I don't know that he's got any teammates. I think he might be a solo driver, as it were. So if Aaron Smith has to come down pit road earlier than everybody else, you know, that may make it tough for him. Don't have any friends, and if you don't have any friends in the draft, you go a lap down very quickly. I'm trying to remember though, so this is the first we've run into this car, and from what we've seen, and these guys have run 36 laps. I believe they went up towards 40 last week. 50 was the cutoff for the race, and they all had to pit once. I'm almost certain the plan is to get to 40. Pit one more time after that. I think there's a group in the back of the field starting to move forward. Led by the 82 of Mike Christopher there. You've got Barbieri. I believe that's Fruchnick right behind him. That's Capuano that's right behind him. I think they've definitely risen up a little bit. Barbieri showing some signs of life. That's what he does. Barbieri likes to run the back at these plate tracks. Now he goes back to the top side once again. Pick up another couple of spots.
Goodman dove down to the bottom. Here comes Nick and Delicato off the top side to try to take your race lead. Down the backstretch we go.
I think Gerald Campbell probably wanted to pit. Probably thinking about pit stops here soon. Nick and Delicato also shoved him out there so that the 31 car could actually clear down and make a pass. Now it's 2 Shift Esports cars on the top, and they've got a big run. Seth Rawls gives him Delicato the push at the line. New leader, 1 car. Those are two of the more aggressive guys in the field right there, running up front.
4-car pack on the top side. Up front, couple cars in the back running that top line, but down to just 8 cars side by side here in the front half of the race. Delicato is going to get clear down the back stretch, and he'll dive down to that bottom line.
Yeah, I bet those two shift cars are really trying to get each other down to the bottom here, try to clear that top lane so that they can kind of make a pit stop here coming up soon. You'll see Delicato jump back to the top, try to pick up his teammate.
39 complete, putting lap 40 up there on the board.
In my mind, that opens the pit window. Right? You get to 40, you get to 80, you get to the end. 2 stops. Now Rawls and Delicato side by side for the lead. Only 3 cars on the top, just about everybody else on the bottom until you get back to about 15th. And then guys are starting to try to move their way forward, take advantage of some of these guys who are backing off, trying to get down to the bottom and get to pit row. See it. They coming? Not yet.
Now, if you could do 2:45 lap runs, that would leave you with a 30-lap segment at the end, which would let you know that you definitely have enough fuel to get to the finish.
It's tough, right? The super speedway fuel game is always a very scary one, because if you end up in a pack, let's say you decide to be the first cars down pit road, and you end up in a pack with like 2 cars. As now Rawls cuts to the bottom, right in front of Delicato, the shift cars got to the bottom. You come down with 2, you end up with 2 cars, right? Well, some packages on iRacing, that's faster. Some packages, it's slower. This one, I believe it would be slower.
Still nobody coming here on lap 41. And it's just Trupiano and Scott Crump, the only 2 left up there on the high side.
Crump bump drafting Trupiano in turn 1, and Delicato gave Rawls a shot entering turn 1. Those guys not being gentle about the pushes at this point, trying to make sure they have that race lead when we approach pit stops. I think Trupiano's got clear of the lead. He hasn't dropped down, trying to keep Scott Crump with him. Now he drops.
Nope, he goes back up, opens the door. Here comes Seth Rawls to the inside.
I think we're pitting. Yep, Joe Campbell down pit road.
Like it's about 7 cars headed down pit road.
Ooh, those guys are coming in hot. Gibbs was pretty fast. I think he got in though. I think Gibbs got in. Lap 42 for that group, including the dude Green. Jeff Green overshot his pit box. Yikes. If I'm the shift cars, I'm coming right now. They've got a huge gap.
Seth Rawls is leading that leader pack right now, 5 cars together.
Rawls and Delicato. Aaron Smith's still on the track in the 70. Think he'll be pitting this time. Yep, he's called it. So is Roethlisberger. And both shifties coming in. And Delicato way faster than Rawls. Smith sideways on the binders. I think they all got down to pit road speed, but time will tell whether we lost anybody there. Those guys were coming in really hot.
Now Trupiano and Crump were the 2 that stayed out of that pack. They are leading your race.
You can already see just how long those pit stops had to be. Goodman almost a lap down. Carpenter did go a lap down. Oh yeah, and Aaron Smith got an unsafe pit entry. The pole sitter having an issue here. With guys are going to be having to pit as they catch the slower cars of Goodman. Nobody pitted, actually. I think that's going to work out really good for this pack. So many cars haven't pitted yet.
It is pretty chaotic there as the leaders try to navigate through that pack.
Crump and Trupiano are doing a marvelous job.
Yeah, there's a big group right behind them as they're battling with Campbell right now. You can see the speed there and the difference between those 2 cars. And a little drafting help on the bottom too. There's Joe Francis.
Crump and Trupiano are going to pit now, but problem is Ryan Gavel's slow on the bottom of the racetrack in the 0-1. This group's coming up fast on the shift cars. Gavin Hibbs leading that top group.
Big group behind coming down pit road, though.
Yep, here they come. Oh, somebody missed pit road entirely.
Bach.
Yeah, 33 car. Brandon Bach. Oh, crashing! Oh! Goodman got spun! He takes out Crump and Trupiano, both leaders. Got the Vans car as well. I don't know who the Vans car is. The caution comes out. Goodman got tapped at one point, slid it, tried to save it, caught Scott Crump in the left rear, or right rear, and it just hooked him up into Andy Trupiano, and both 1 and 2 taken out in turn 1.
Oh, man. Really Cameron Rich.
Oh, it was Cameron Rich in the Vans car. Oh. And Goody goes on his lid.
The real bad deal there for Trupiano and Crump.
Oh, right there. Oh, Bayou almost got taken out too. Oh my.
I think Crump and Trupiano were trying to come down the last 2 times down pit road and got hung out to dry, stuck in that pack, couldn't get down in time.
Yeah. So
involved in the drive.
So I was looking at it, and that's a big break for Aaron Smith, by the way. He would have been probably right in that pack that got involved in the wreck. Trupiano tried to cut down in front of Crump, but then the shift cars were slow on the bottom of the racetrack. It just ended up where Trupiano got hooked, coming down by Crump, corrected back to the right, caught Goodman. Goodman, innocent bystander, and this one nowhere to go. Crump and Trupiano leading this race, obviously, doing a marvelous job cutting through traffic. Nowhere to go. Big break for Dave Carpenter, big break for Aaron Smith. Those guys are going to be able to get laps back, I think. And the top break for the 11 car being James Heater. Boom. I don't know if that net coated the damage away, but
no.
I think he's got some heavy right side damage there. Johnny Thomas hadn't pitted. He's on pit road now. One more look at it. Oh, netcode grabs the 44 and sends it spinning.
Man, Bayou got lucky.
Yep. And then bang, Cameron Rich, unhappy about it in the chat already. James Heater involved. Tough break. We'll re-rack the field for you once they get caught up under caution here. My scoring still shows Scott Crump in the lead. That is no longer true.
I think Gavin Hibbs might be our new race leader.
That's what's showing for me.
He was up there. 9 car up front. Nick Massey's back down pit road. Bunch of these guys. Aaron Smith right in front of the leader. He'll be getting a lap back. Dave Carpenter will be getting a lap back. Jeff Crane slid through his pit box. He'll be getting a lap back. Caution was a big break for him. Not a big break for their teammate Michael Goodman. Looks like it'll be Hibbs, Francis, Campbell, Dewar. Front 4. Delicato and Rawls behind them once we rack this back up.
Let's bring up Goody and have a chat with him because he went for a wild ride.
Do it. Michael Goodman, it's David in the booth.
Hey, how's it going?
It looked like you went for a little bit of a wild ride there, buddy.
Yeah, well, from my perspective, we came out of the pits. We had some good momentum out of the guys just coming off pit road. And I'm not sure what happened if the 7 car got hit from behind, and I was just kind of wrong spot at the wrong time, or right time, I guess. But yeah, we'll limp out here and see what happens. I'm kind of wondering what happened with the 11 car there, because I feel like I got hit about full song there. That was fun.
Well, all right. Well, you're right. You hit a nail on the head there, and you know, the 7 car got booted up because he tried to tuck in behind some slower guys. But how was it up there leading? We saw you up front and drafting with your buddy Dusty.
Yeah, it's fun up front, but man, that car on the top side, it gets real tight. That's something to kind of watch out for. And I know, like, me and Campbell burned our tires up a lot more than the rest of our kind of group that we're kind of running with. And so if you want to save tires, you're going to want to run the bottom, but to make moves at the end, I think you can make it up top if you save them well enough.
Good to know. Thanks, buddy. I think we are about to go green here, so good luck the rest of the way. And unfortunate that we had to talk to you under these circumstances, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's plate racing. Never know.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one. Rest
Yep,
of the way.
bet. Thank you.
All right, pace cars down pit road. Gavin Hibbs going to lead us to green, and here we go.
Once again, James Heater still on pit road, by the way. Goodman's a lap down. Cameron Rich still sitting on pit road.
Right away, Dustin Dewar diving down to the bottom. Going to team up with Hibbs. Leaves Joe Francis out to hang, but here comes Seth Rawls on the top side. He's going to get a run and make it 2x2.
Pushed by Matthew Bayuk in that silver car. And remember what Goody just said, you know, the guys in the outside line using their tires, using those right side tires to kind of keep that car down. I wonder if that's what we're seeing with Ryan Gavel dropping to the bottom there. And actually, I think it's Kyle Hanshaw. Kyle Hanshaw dropping to the bottom. Dustin Dewar cutting to the bottom as soon as he could. Some of these guys, I think, are making that conscious tire-saving decision early in this run. Still a long way to go in this race. And if there's any sort of tire wear, it makes a lot of sense to find a gap, sit on the bottom, and ride it out. But you know, some of these guys don't really care. Zach Roethlisberger's up in the top lane. He's running for it. Drew Eisenman's in the top 10 now. First time we've seen the 77 all day. He was hanging back there with Johnny Thomas, I believe.
Just as we crossed that time, left us with 70 to go. So would we now split it up? If you were out there, David, would you go 35 and 35?
Also, here's about spun Damian Leininger out in the center of the corner. Yeah, probably. At the very least, right, you stay out as long as you can, see if you can't catch that caution again. If you're not the first group to pit, I want to be probably the last group to pit. Because we're not going green from here on out, right? Like, we already seen it. Once they start getting jumbled up, there's a huge speed difference in the guys that were already going, and you know, the guys that had momentum and fresh tires, and then the guys who didn't have any momentum. There'll be another caution. That was going to be difficult. Oh man, it might be right now. One spun in on the bottom. Is it Hanshaw? I think it is. He saved it. He'll be off the back of the field, probably lost the draft. Heck of a save by Kyle Hanshaw.
And while that was all going on, Joe Francis got the run from Seth Rawls, and he is back to that familiar position of leading the bottom line. He dropped down in front of Gavin Hibbs, and the 50 and 9 car connected once again.
Here's a replay.
Smith. Yeah, I think Aaron Smith maybe got a hold of the left front of it. Oh, no, it was Leininger. Gave him a bit of a bad bump draft there. That's what can happen. Just that easy. Didn't look like it was too egregious or anything, but just sent him sideways. These bumpers do not align on these Gen 4 cars. So it's funny, once, you know, if you ever watch back a Gen 4 race, they were able to bump draft and slam draft. The nose of the car a lot different than the one that's modeled in iRacing. This is that same like 2009 nationwide model with Gen 4 characteristics. It's not quite there yet. I think iRacing's working on it though, and hopefully, you know, we have those full super speedway noses with the bracing and the big, you know, big sealed off bumper that always looked really good from, you know, the late the mid to late 2000s. Love to look at those super speedway cars. And, hopefully they are able to tweak this draft package a little bit to make it a little more like that, because those races always seem to put on a show. Right now we're getting a show though from these guys.
We're 3 wide for a bit. Aaron Smith's still trying to make it 3 wide, and he will do it.
Aaron Smith does not like being not in the lead. He was leading most of that first stint, and he is unhappy with his current situation. 3 wide with Austin Beers. Got some help up there from Marcus Fruchnick. Now Zach Roethlisberger goes to the top. Boy, if I'm Johnny Thomas, I am licking my chops right now hanging off the back of this field.
Beers stuck in the middle. Now he's going to get some help. That's Marcus Fruchnick helping him out through the middle. Now it's Roethlisberger and Smith hung out on the top side. And it might just be the 2 of them for a while.
Oh, yeah. But remember what Goody said, how tight it gets. Run that top group, that outside wall could come up and bite you pretty quickly, and those cars in the middle have to be careful and maybe even have to be aggressive with using their tires to try and keep from sliding up into those cars on the outside. As it stands, they're all going a little bit faster right now. Seth Rawls almost took the lead on Francis. He'll get it probably down the back straightaway here. Big run from that middle lane. Outside lane looks strong too. Fruchnick up top. Bach up top. And they're 3 wide for the lead.
Roethlisberger leading that group. Had a run going into the corner. Going to lose out a little bit. Joe Francis going to have the edge coming out of turn 4. Going to have a lapper up in front.
Hit the wall. Tight. Heater drops to the bottom. Lets them go through. Zach Roethlisberger has ridden the outside lane to the lead. Will he drop down? He's clear. No, he's not clear. Rawls is underneath him. Guys are putting on a fantastic show now, proving that outside line concept.
So Francis, Gavin Hibbs got a big run there. Now they're going to have to back up and catch momentum. That's going to allow these top 2 lanes to get a little bit of a run. Roethlisberger again taking the advantage into the corner, but here comes Francis. Oh, they're wrecking.
Oh, there was just nowhere for Goodman to go.
On the speedway here on lap 58.
Oh, Gerald Campbell got wrecked in that one. I'm just, man, they went really hyper aggressive for lap 50 something, which, that's fine. But then there's lap cars coming up. It's very difficult to see what can possibly be done here. There was a huge closing gap there too. Aaron Smith involved, Fruchnick involved. You might need to go on board with. You might need to go on board with the 12 car.
We'll go on board with a lot of cars.
Man, look how fast they were catching it too. Like, I just think there was no way of knowing. Brooke Beers got through there pretty well. If you're the second car in line, you couldn't have seen them.
You said the 12?
Yeah, 12 car I think got a good view of that one.
All right.
Look at that, just the brakes to the apron.
Oh, Eisentek 77 also got
Eisenman
a view.
Got through it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say that's probably an even better view.
Yep. Where were they going to go? I mean, there was another one right in front of it too. So it's like, both of them had chosen the top. Ooh, Eisenman did clip Gerald there. I think Gerald just looped it after that contact. So no additional damage, but a bunch of people came down pit road, by the way.
I think these are guys that were mostly involved in the wreck. Aaron Smith's on pit road. Dustin Dewar.
Jeff Green and Nick Massey came down pit road. Whenever Nick Massey does something, I gotta pay attention to it. You gotta keep an eye on it because that guy, he's crafty.
Gerald Campbell, who was involved in the wreck, came down pit road as well.
Oh man, dude, Maybe Goody could have committed to the apron, but he's got to run his own race too. I don't know. He's in the waiting.
Let's bring him up. Oh, yeah, sorry. You guys are waiting on me.
Yeah. Michael Goodman, you're back again.
Yeah.
So, from our perspective, that appeared to be a no-win scenario for you. Take us through that one. It felt like they were just coming up on you really fast.
Yeah, when I was catching up, trying to get in the draft to the 7, I was initially going to stay on the bottom, but he was up top, and we were going to clog the track either way, and I was going to try to last second bail to get on the top side. And I think either way, I was going to take cars out. If they would have caught us at a different part of the track, I would have hit the apron. I'd just like to apologize to everyone who got involved in that. That was kind of a crappy deal there, but yeah, that was not a fun night so far here tonight.
No, not at all. But the one good note that I think would make you feel better is had they just been running double file like they had been all race, they wouldn't have been a wreck.
Yeah, so. I was trying to get in the wall, and man, I don't know who's in the 23 here tonight, but I think he almost got enough room to get around me. But I think just it's hard to even go 3 wide out here tonight, and at that pace, we should have known better. Being that slow as lap cars, we should have got on the apron. But I guess we learned for later.
Tough break for you, man, and hey, go get him next week, partner.
Yeah, that's right. All right, thank you guys.
Yep, see you, Goody.
Yep, see ya.
Yep. Apologetic, obviously, from Michael Goodman, though. I don't know that's 100% his fault, but it just did seem like a really bad situation that we found ourselves in. I don't know if we're still doing the halfway point, but we hit the line right here. That will be the halfway point. Joe Francis would have won that.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever talked about the whole points breakdown situation and what entails all of that, but we have made it halfway.
Yep. We'll get a better picture of that, I think, as the season progresses and we get a little bit of a few races under our belts. Green flag's back out for Joe Francis. Gavin Hibbs on the bottom of the racetrack. Austin Beers is there as well. And about half the field is damaged or otherwise from about 20th on back. Everybody from Aaron Smith, Scott Crump, Frucknicht, all those guys damage. So now we're down to about 20 cars to decide this one. That's more than enough to both wreck cars and to put on a good show. Matthew Bayuk and Ryan Barbieri back out of it. And up front, got some new names. Austin Beers, Damian Leininger, driving to the front of that top lane.
Yeah, they started out as single file through the top 5, and then Beers and Leininger jumped to the top side here. Seeing if they can challenge. Leininger going to side draft a little bit there. They got a little loose as well.
Another one jumping into the top 10, Tom Capuano, 4th car on the outside lane. Nick Massey right there on the bottom. Here he is, top 10, past halfway, money time. Here comes Nick.
I'd like to point out,
go ahead.
I'd like to point out that blue car, that Austin Beers machine, was involved in that second to last wreck.
Looked pretty clean to me.
Yeah. The initial Goody wreck.
Right. I think he hit somebody getting on the brakes. Obviously, Leininger nearly involved in one of those. Damian's typically a pretty aggressive plate racer. We'll see if he's able to kind of nudge that 19 car past the 50. 50 car's been really strong today. Definitely one of the guys to look out for when it comes to money time later on. Another shift car has dropped back on the apron. Seth Rawls heading back to join his teammates. And that'll bring Nick Massey to 3rd in line on the bottom.
And Delicato will be pushing right behind him as well.
Nick didn't get the memo, apparently, that the shift guys are dropping the back. Beers on the top, trying to take the lead at the line. I think it's going to be Joe Francis that time. Just barely, 0.015 at the line. No 3 wide this time. Looks like they learned their lesson. Though the concept's been proven. It can be done. We're going to see it later in this race. But I think these guys are all in agreement. Let's get that last pit stop out of the way before we try for any of those crazy shenanigans once again. Joe Francis, man. An orange and black Ford, number 50, been running up front all day long. Oh! Gavin Hibbs got into Damian, and Delicato dropped to the apron, and they all saved it.
What?
Woo! And Delicato was the only one who got sideways there, because I think he hit the brakes. I think he slammed the brakes and cut sideways on him, and he cut to the apron, checked up, and got back in line behind, I think it's Bach. Damian came down and just hooked Hibbs up the track. Watching Delicato cut to the apron there. Yeah, that's the save of the race so far, other than maybe Hanshaw, who is back in the top 10, by the way, after nearly going around on the back straightaway. And Beers did take the lead. Francis now trying to go to the top. Damian goes 3 wide on Francis.
Yeah, Damian does not want any part of that. Going to leave Francis out to dry. It'll be interesting to see who that top line goes with here. Leininger might have to choose to drop back in line, and will do so. That gives a big run to the bottom. Here comes Hibbs to the top side now.
Hibbs jumps up in front of his teammate. I think Leininger tried to carry a run past Francis so he could be the leader in that outside line. Got up there, and neither of them had any help, and the outside stalled out more without any cars than did the middle. Capuano now drops to the bottom. We've only got 5 cars in that outside line. Hibbs, Francis, Leininger, Drew Eisenman, and now Brandon Bach decides to get in the mix in the 33 car. I was going to say Delicato was up there, but he has since dropped off the back of this field.
Kind of a little bit of a 10-car pack here. There's a little gap between Jeff Green and Kyle Hanshaw, who's running in 11th.
Johnny made a very abrupt top to bottom to top move there, and that was a little disorienting. Leininger has since dropped to the bottom of the track. He has decided he's had enough for the time being, and Gavin Hibbs at the line leads over Austin Beers. Also got the adventures of lapped cars coming up once again. Gerald Campbell dropped the bottom to get out of the way.
10 to 15 laps away from pit stops, most likely.
Let's see, I think these guys are going to go as long as they can at this point. They've had some caution laps, obviously, and I think guys certainly will try, but I think you've got to be in the bigger pack. I don't think you can do the strategy that my team enacted on Thursday where you pit out of cycle with everybody and just try to maintain. I mean, we didn't even maintain in a car that runs better in smaller packs, and this car certainly runs better in bigger packs, much faster. So I think these guys are going to try to wait, burn their fuel out. If they're going to come, they got to come with a big group. Don't look now, but Johnny Thomas, Kyle Hanshaw have teamed up on the top lane. Johnny's back down. I was hoping they would take up 3 wide, go from 10th to the lead. As he stands, Austin Beers, impressive run from Dusty Dewar today. He's been up front all day, led early. Strong runs from Gavin Hibbs, Joe Francis, They've been up front all day. Austin Beers hung back early on. He's now the race leader. And then, of course, there's Nick Massey.
Eisenman up there on the top side. He's the third car in line.
Another one to mention as they go around Scott Crump. A lot of room there once you're not 3 wide. Another one to mention that we haven't mentioned much today, Jeff Green in that 6th car on the inside lane. He's just cut to the outside. 38 car, Volkswagen running for Do Good Motorsports. You know, the 2000 Busch Series champion hadn't really made any noise. He's usually really good at these plate tracks. Usually a guy to watch out for the race win. I think we've seen him dominate some of the Erska races here before, and today's just not been his day. Slipped through his pit box. But he's made it work. He's made recovery. He's back to 8th. A strong run.
Another run here for Hibbs at the line. Very close.
Got Gavin Hibbs by .004 over Austin Beers at the line that time by. It's a 4 1,000ths of a second. Very, very close. I think that'd be the 4th closest finish in NASCAR history. 3rd? One of those. But it was just lap 71 here. Francis and Hibbs drafted together very, very well. They've been really, really strong. Either lane, whether the top or the bottom, they've been able to keep their line up front at the start-finish line just about every time. If you combined the lane that Joe Francis was running in, whether it be him leading or running second, that lane has definitely led the most laps in this race.
Big run for the top side here. We'll see if Hibbs tries to drop down. He will.
Will that drop Joe Francis? Because Eisenman has definitely not been running up near the lead as much in this race. Can he push Joe Francis back up to the top spot? Now's the time, right? Now's the time to get your practice in. Can you push a lane in this car where you can't really push, right? That's the key. You gotta be able to be willing to touch the guy in front of you, but not spin him out. It's a very fine line. Highly, it's skill and bravery. Eisenman's doing a good job.
Jeff Green jumped up to that top line. He's made a run now up into the top 5. Battling for 5th and 6th. It's Dustin Dewar.
Sure has. And in behind them, Kyle Hanshaw. He was sideways on the back straightaway not 30 laps ago. Another guy we haven't talked about much at all. And that black car on the bottom just behind Thomas Caviuana, that's Ryan Gavel. Dewar gets in behind Jeff Green. Outside line suddenly preferred.
That's going to break up that bottom line here. Hibbs and Beers, yeah, going to back it up. Francis drops down though, and those two will connect once again. They swap positions back to the familiar Francis up front and Hibbs pushing. Those are swapped about 3 laps ago.
Andrew Eisenman get the lead here. Jeff Green pushing the 77 car now, and that 77 very, very nicely schemed, by the way. I believe it's a Pontiac, but it reminiscent of Eisenman's COT car from last season. He ran at Daytona, ran a couple of other races. Got some more lapped cars coming up here for this front pack. For now, Joe Francis, Gavin Hibbs, they've been the strongest pair of teammates all day. Probably along with Aaron Smith, the three dominant cars. Smith currently one of those lapped cars up ahead, nursing wounds from an earlier wreck. It's a whole group of three on the bottom. It's a bunch of guys who've been fast. Smith, Ruknicht, Trupiano.
I think two guys that are in this pack that are just kind of riding right now, biding their time. Nick Massey, Damian Leininger right there. 4th and 5th on the bottom line. Not making any moves, but just kind of sitting there waiting for their opportunity.
And from what we heard from Michael Goodman, you notice the guys who elected to run the bottom lane. Right? Massey, Leininger, the shift guys that are back there, Rawls, and then now the field goes around that train of three cars. Rawls and Bayuk, that is, and Johnny Thomas has been running the bottom. Dave Carpenter's been running the bottom. It's worth noting because if this thing goes green, those are the guys who are going to be able to take no tires or right side tires only on this next pit stop. Maybe gain a little time. Oh, Dewar got into Nick Massey. A little casual contact. Group behind, Rawls just cut to the top. The group behind, you need to be careful there. They could have lost the draft of this front group very easily. That Seth Rawls on back type of guys, and Delicato's back there, Bayuk's back there, Barbieri's back there. They could have lost the group. Rawls made a quick move to the top, and I think he kept them in the draft because that group of three wounded cars, they are going a lot slower, and if he tried to kind of keep them in the pack, he would have quickly fallen out of the draft of that front group.
Hibbs jumped up to the top side here, trying to get that spark going, looking to maybe swap off with Joe Francis.
Austin Beers clipped the apron coming off a 2, just about looped it. But that real-life car control there that Beers is able to feature. Kept her straight. Gave Francis a really good shove down the back, but now you'll see Austin Beers way off the back bumper of Francis. Hibbs has Eisenman a lot closer, should be able to get there at the line, but they all jump to the top to avoid the lapped car of Scott Crump.
I think these two teammates are doing a little bit of strategy here, swapping off with the race lead.
Yeah, I think so. Try to burn a little less fuel, also control the lines, right? One way that you can, impact this race, even though you can't just, single file out, pull a, 2018 Stewart Haas Racing. You can lead each line, right? Now, if you're in this group, you have to push an aggressive Eagle car, right? Either the 9 or the 10 or the 50. You can't, nobody's going to the top right now, so it's one of them, and they're in the top positions. If the wreck happens, theoretically, it's behind those first two, and they'll be the first ones on the pit road. So always smart to lead the lines if you can, especially when they're equal like this.
Well, we have hit lap 80 now, so see exactly how much longer they push it out, but we're 2/3 of the way through. We're expecting that one more pit stop to get us to the finish line. Who knows how many more cautions in that time.
Pit window to end the race here, definitely open. I think these guys are going to go a little bit farther, as far as they can, to try and minimize the amount of fuel they've got to put in the car. Right, you can select less fuel on iRacing, so I would, go in there and try to turn that down as much as I could, burn it off as much as I can on this run, or maybe save as much as I can on this run and burn it all off on the final run. But either way, right, you just want to be able to spend as little time on pit road as you can on this final stop.
Eisenman giving a big push down the backstretch here. Hibbs might be able to clear, probably going to stay up. Now he'll drop to the bottom.
Really, really strong run from Gavin Hibbs. Been able to take that 9 car to the front a number of times today. Good push from Drew Eisen. Not too aggressive, but strong enough to grab that 9 car the lead. And wonder if we'll see Joe Francis shift to the top lane here and try to take it back from his teammate.
Someone that did. Austin Beers jumping up, but someone else that jumped up to that top lane. 5th car in line now trying to string that line together is Johnny Thomas.
Always got to keep an eye out for that Belly Up Sports blue and orange car. Looks a little like that Austin Beers car out front, but got a lot more orange and white on it.
Big run here for the top line. Eisman again providing a big push, just a little too late as they head into the corner. Hibbs will get the run with Francis and hold on to the race lead.
Maybe Francis is close to the back bumper of the 9 this time, and another scenario where Beers at the line just missed the lead. Another scenario where those two aggressive Eagle cars really been able to keep their line ahead at the stripe, and that's important because when it comes down to it, if you're running double wide, coming to the checkered flag, you want Joe Francis or Gavin Hibbs in your line because one of those two is going to get that first spot. They're going to be ahead at the stripe because they've been ahead at the stripe just about every lap of this race. Francis again closer to Hibbs than Eisenman is to Beers and pushes the bottom ahead. Joe Francis just has turn 4 a little bit better than whoever else is kind of running the second, in second behind the outside leader.
Big run here that's going to allow Beers to tuck into third. Right ahead of Nick Massey as those two got out front. A little separation in that bottom line. That'll now put Eisman back to the top, leading that line behind Jeff, or just ahead of Jeff Green.
Dusty Dewar have been running the top lane here. They haven't been making any moves. They've been just kind of riding it out as far up as they can get.
See if those 4 or 5 guys that are stuck throughout the field on the top side here start to work their way towards the bottom when they can. We get ready to prepare for pit stops in the next few laps.
I imagine they're coming soon, right? I'm assuming around lap 90, probably. Ooh, man, Hibbs with a big moment coming off of 2. Beers on the apron. I think Francis might have clipped his teammate there just a little bit coming off of 2. Cut him sideways. What a save from Gavin Hibbs. Drew Eisenman to the race lead. Huge moment for the 9 car. Keeps it straight. They might even have the lead at this time at the stripe.
I was going to say, even with all of that...
Oh, he got the apron before Francis even got there.
Yeah, Francis might have given him a little bump after he got to the apron, and that's why Beers had to dive down. Otherwise, he was going to run both of them over. And I believe they did have the lead at the stripe that time. So even with that little bobble, that just shows you the power these two have when they get hooked back together.
It's Goody again, but he's the apron this time. Remarkable to me, though, that in the scorebook, Gavin Hibbs never lost the lead. He was fully behind Drew Eisenman right there, down the back straightaway, because his door was facing the apron, and he's still the race leader. Never lost it. Jeff Green, top side, 3 wide, going around Eisenman. Dusty there to help his teammate. I think they'll get that done on the 77 car. Yep, they will. Eisenman's going to fall back. Just look how that slowed up that top lane. Massey clear. Leininger about to be clear. Eisenman ducks to the bottom. Someone just ducked to the apron there. I think it's Gavel. I don't know what Gavel is doing. I think Gavel's just goofing off.
Yeah, he might just be having fun.
Yeah. Gavel ran about 3/4 of the way down the apron on the back straightaway, came right back up in front of his teammate Nick Indelicato. He's still doing it. He keeps running the apron. Ryan Gavel might be the source of the entertainment here. As
Massey to the top side here.
Looky there. You said Money Time was coming soon? I heard Money Time was coming soon. It must be, because that 48 car is moving forward. Wilson.
Getting a good run here with a push from Jeff Green up into the 3rd position.
First thing that tells me is that Nick Massey's not interested in pitting anytime soon. Otherwise, he would have stayed on the bottom of the racetrack. Second thing is that I'm by no means a Jimmy Johnson fan. In fact, I hate Jimmy Johnson. Ruined a lot of my Sundays as a child. That might be my favorite Jimmy Johnson scheme, though. That's a good one. It's a darn good one. I like the black.
Yeah, but I feel like we have a lot of the same sentiments towards paint schemes today.
It's been...
Can't deny the talent, though. He was definitely very talented.
He was real good. I just, I got takes. They're not for this race. You can ask me about them later.
Here we go. Down pit road. Hibbs, Francis.
Yep, those guys that have been leading the whole race, oh man, James Heater missed pit road by a mile. Those guys that have been leading the whole race, they are having to pit early. And that is not good news for those two. By the way, leader at the stripe, Nick Massey, 48 car.
And he has cleared everybody and is down on that bottom line now ahead of Austin Beers. Here comes Jeff Green with a big run on the outside, though.
Jeff Green
to
the lead. Yep, Dusty Dewar with the big push to his teammate. Oh, man, Dusty, careful. Oh, they both cleared. Whoop. Johnny Thomas now leading the top lane. Do Good Motorsports up front at Daytona. Worth a note, haven't been able to talk about it much. Into the top 10 goes Dave Carpenter. And that black and green car on the top lane, right behind Johnny Thomas.
We had those first couple come down pit road. We're inside 30 laps left to go now here in this one.
That's a big disaster for those two, man. They needed a couple of guys to come with them. Here goes Hanshaw, lap down. They're going to go right behind. Gavin and Joe they're not far ahead right now. That Joe's about to go a lap down momentarily. Gavin's right behind him. They'll tuck into this pack and they'll wind up okay, I think, but they're going to lose all of their track position and maybe the draft, depending on where they kind of come out in relation to these guys after pit stops. This green takes them all to the top of the racetrack.
If they stay together, though, they got a pretty strong teammate bond there and a pretty strong two cars to push through the pack. If they can just work their way through this here, get back on the lead lap, and get in that main pack.
I'm foreseeing Hibbs and Francis taking it to the outside 3 wide late in this race. That's what I'm foreseeing, coming from about 15th up to the lead late. They're going to try to go for it right now, though.
They did tuck in at about 5th, and now they're going to try to make that run to get back on the lead lap. A couple cars can go with them to the top side here.
Smart moves by those two. They need to be aggressive on these fresh tires.
They're making up a little bit of ground just with the two of them. They're going to go by Nick Massey here.
Problem is they won't be able to make up the kind of ground on the outlap. They lost time on that outlap, where when this whole pack pits, they will have a lot more speed, a lot quicker on that outlap. I do think 9 and 50 will be able to get there and stay with this pack, but it's going to be close. Here comes Beers.
Half the pack. Oh, they got into each other. A couple cars make contact in the back.
Did they save it? Leininger made it to pit road okay. Gavel just bounced off of Bach. An eventful pit stop for these guys.
Oh, that was going down. Hibbs and Francis still trying to get around these guys. Haven't been able to. Holding still with Jeff Green.
Oh, man. Teammates ran into each other. Barbieri clipped Capuano. Capuano does save it. Gavel was sideways. Nobody ever spun out there. These guys all made it. Capuano's got a little damage and had to reverse into his pit stall, so he'll be open for a caution. This time by, no change. The do-good guys, Nick Massey, staying out, leading this race. Dylan Thomas enters the top 5 for the first time.
Massey thought about jumping up there with Francis and Gibbs for a minute and then decide to stick to that bottom lane.
I think I'd be sticking on the bottom lane here. Here's the pack, and this is what actually is going to help Francis and Hibbs a ton. They are roaring past a number of their competitors on this, that have already pitted. Beers, Leininger up front here. They're about to get overtaken quickly by this group. That'll put Hibbs and Francis way up front. Now the question will be how quickly the Leininger Beers group can run Hibbs and Francis back down. It might be whether or not they can get through this without wrecking.
The thing too is Hibbs and Francis have been up there on the high side for quite a few laps now. We talked about using up those tires. With them trying to work through this pack on the high side, definitely not helping them out any.
Well, the good news for them that just happened here is that they did merge in right with the Beers, Leininger, Bach, Eisenman group that have already pitted. I think Eisenman might not have pitted, but the group that's already pitted, Hibbs and Francis are right there with them, so they don't actually lose any track position, which is good. But now it's time to think about Jeff Green, Dewar, Massey. When are they going to pit? I think the longer you stay out, the worse it actually is for you here.
Johnny Thomas in that group as well.
Yep. Dave Carpenter, Dylan Thomas. It is Eisenman. Mike Christopher in that group. Haven't talked about him much all day. Now into the top 10. Riding back in this pack. Johnny just cut to the bottom. Might be time. Damien went to the top.
Another big run here for Hibbs and Francis. And they're going to have some help because Beers and Leininger are there as well. So they're going to have some help to get around this group.
Wonder if Beers and Leininger will try to take them 3 wide. They know their stiffest competition, I think, is those 2 right in front of them. Massey, Dewar, Green playing that fuel strategy game here.
Coming close to 20 to go here. And come around this time, we'll be down to 21 to go.
Now, all of those guys are going to be able to spend less time on pit road than the group that just pitted. They do not need as much fuel. Whether that's an advantage or not will remain to be seen, but I imagine it will help them, attach quickly to the front of this big pack.
I think Hibbs is clear, or was clear, not quite now.
Certainly not worried about your tires. There's 20 laps to go in this race, and you've got to make up as much ground as you can on these guys. Got to be running laps hard, try to get, a broken away from the shift cars once the pit stop cycles through. Johnny and Dylan still up top. Now they cut to the bottom.
You gotta be coming in the next handful of laps, right? They can't give it too much more time before they come down pit road.
Let me remind you that this group did pit on our last caution. But I believe that was lap 60. So I think they can go a couple more laps. This whole group pit. Green, Dewar, Massey, Johnny Thomas, Carpenter, Dylan Thomas, all pitted. Doubt they would have been able to save, 15 laps of fuel. So they definitely have to pit one more time. But this is their 40-lap middle run window. Staying out once again. Jeff Green continues to lead. Every lap they can tick off is less time they have to spend on pit road. It's also that many laps fresher that their tires will be compared to Hibbs, Francis, Beers, Leininger.
Just a reminder for those of you at home, because it's a reminder for myself too. Even though it looked like it was a battle for the race lead, that Hibbs line is a whole lap down. So
Joe just hit the wall. Joe Francis just clapped the wall. Gavin Hibbs just lost his drafting partner. Austin Beers got by him. Barbieri now to third among that group. Leininger to fourth. Francis back to fifth amongst the guys that have already pitted.
Well, and a big chunk of that group that was still left just went down pit road, so they just split it in half. Johnny Thomas led that group that did come on pit road.
Oh, Johnny is not in his pit box right. Still out there are the do-good cars, including Dave Carpenter. Dewar and Jeff Green, they might be pitting this time.
Nick Massey stuck in the middle right here. He's 3 wide with Hibbs on the inside, Leininger on the outside. Probably not the position to come down pit road, yeah.
And Massey's not pitting this time, that's for sure. Didn't have any way to. Lucky for Massey, his do-good tandem partners up there also did not pit. Let's see how this pack swallows up Johnny and Dylan Thomas.
That group being broken up helps this group out even more.
Yep. Shift cars have decided it's time to go. Indelicato, Rawls, Gavel, all kind of moving forward now in this group. Massey's now on the bottom. I don't think he's going to be leaving it. Brandon Bach is the first of the cars 1 lap down.
Tell me Gavel had enough of his playtime on the apron. He's ready to go now.
Yeah, I think he was warming up his tires.
Okay.
We're going to go 3 wide with Eisenman. This is going to be close. Johnny's pretty far out in front. He's got some drafting though. He's going to get caught by this group, but yeah. We'll see, man. Johnny could be in a really good spot here. If they wad him up right now, Johnny's in a great spot.
Yeah, it's getting a little risky right now. Jeff Green caught in the middle.
Dylan Thomas keeping Jeff Green and Dusty Dewar up the track. Oh! Jeff puts Beers up. Oh, man. I think Jeff's still bobbling. Tough spot for Jeff to be in. I think they're trying to get to pit road. They are. They lost time doing that. And Massey went way too quick. Oh, man, Massey might have thrown it away right there.
Yeah, he locked it up hard coming to pit road.
I think that might be all she wrote for Nick Massey's chances today. I've done it before too, buddy. Woo. We'll see. We'll see how much time Nick Massey spends on pit road here. Mike Christopher takes the race lead. He is off the back of this big pack, the snarling group. Johnny Thomas blends right in. He's right amongst the leaders now.
Still 3 wide in this group here.
Massey's
it's going to be...
How did Massey do that? Nick Massey
nailed it.
Does not speed. Perfect pit stop for Nick Massey. He's the first off pit road amongst those 3 as well. Now they're going to get swallowed up. They will be part of this pack.
This pack. Uh-oh! Leininger got into Eisenman. That almost turned bad.
They're all in the lead lap now. Oh, Eisenman drifts up. He gets Leininger again. Caught high, Drew. Caught high. Leininger drifts back. Better to have a car that's still in one piece than not at all, though he's still going to hang tough with Hibbs.
Francis, he got together in that middle line here. Something to watch.
Talking to the mic, son.
They're coming up on Dave Carpenter now. Massey and Dewar and Green going to go around Massey here up front. But this group of 3 racing, that's not going to pull them away from this pack. I don't think they're going to pull anything's going to pull them away from this pack, honestly. Christopher's off pit road. He will not be caught up with this field. Here it is. Dylan, go ahead.
Damian was able to get down there. He's behind Francis and Hibbs now.
Dylan to the top. See if Carpenter can blend in. Up front, it's Dusty Dewar leading this race. Jeff Green second, Nick Massey third. They have about a second on this snarling group, and Dave Carpenter blends it right in. Worked perfectly for the 71.
Oh, they're wrecking.
And Dave gets spun by Bach, the 33. That should be a caution. I think Dave's going to end up back on the track.
Green still right
Still
now.
not. Still green. Oh, Dave, you should have. Oh, there it is. I think Johnny Eckert might have thrown that one. We'll see. I don't think he did.
I think someone was stopped on the track.
Was it, who did he run into? had to be who he ran into. Carpenter did a horrible. Oh, it was Crump. I bet Scott Crump. No, Crump just drove down pit road. No, it was Crump. Crump hit the inside wall and wound up on the racetrack. Oh, his left front tire was busted. That's what happened there. To bring out the caution.
Oh, wow, yeah.
The tire's not on the car anymore. And just because that car's sitting on the track, caution waves.
Right there, the last car on the track there.
Yep. And I don't know that that's not a Scott Crump issue. Brandon Bach just making that contact with Carpenter when that car gets light coming off the corner. Crump's holding his line. Carp's doing the right thing, blocking up that inside line, trying to, get in this pack, run for the win. Just the slightest little clip right when that car lightens up and sends the 71 down the track. I was going to say, Carp should have been the one to drive up on the track, cause the caution. His two teammates leading it 1-2. They probably could have used it there, but as it stands, the pit strategy to stay out a long term works out well for Dustin Dewar, Jeff Green, and Nick Massey. They are now 1, 2, 3. Strategy to stay out works good for Dylan Thomas. He's now in 4th. I anticipate you'll be seeing nobody coming down pit road here.
Whoa!
Just kidding. Gavin Hibbs and Francis ran the top lane that whole run. I do think them getting tires is probably a smart move. Shift cars also all came down pit road here.
Alright guys, we are going to take a little break and we'll be back before green flag drops.
All right, welcome back.
Welcome.
Yep.
10 to go here. More like 9 to go when we drop the green flag.
And it might be more than that. Race control Johnny Eckert just messaged me. 2 green-white checkers for this one to wrap it up should we need them.
We have all of our typical players in the top 10 here today. Massey's sitting in 3rd. Kevin Hibbs just a little bit further in 10th. Francis just behind him, position or 2.
Green flag back out. Dusty Dewar on the loud pedal. Wonder if he goes up top to pick up his teammate Jeff Green, or if they just tried to control this outside lane, but no. Austin Beers drops to the bottom. Massey up top. Now Green to the bottom. Lane shuffling here.
Full contact.
Eisenman almost gets put in the fence by Dylan Thomas jumping to the top of the track. I think you want to be on the top. I think Jeff and Dusty. Oh, Massey cuts it to the bottom. What a move! Oh, there they go!
Oh, they're wrecking. Everybody's around. The whole top 10's in a wreck.
I actually think this might have been the gentlest wreck of the day. I don't think we're going to lose a single car from that. Beers got a little bit of damage. Damien's got some nose damage. Dylan Thomas got put up in the air. It all happened when Nick Massey cut it to the bottom. What a move. And now Dylan tried to go 3 wide, and Jeff just wasn't ready for that. Very aggressive move. Running like there's 1 lap to go. Massey did catch the inside wall. So did Jeff Green. Oh.
Yeah, those 2 are going to be hurt really bad.
The guy we're going to need to go on board with is Drew Eisenman, who is currently the race leader. It's a great move by Nick Massey to get to the bottom, and then he just has nowhere to go for this. Oh, man, there it goes.
The only saving grace is that he did hit like the little tire barrier, and that could be good.
Yeah. Well, nothing to do but go try to get your repairs fixed on pit road and see what you got in the draft. Here's Eisenman from right behind Dylan Thomas.
We hit the wall.
Little wall action. This
big get hit.
Opened up for him right there through the grass. I think everybody got hit a little bit. Hibbs might be okay. His car looks pretty clean. Francis's car looks pretty clean. Bach looks like he'll be okay. Barbieri looks like he'll be alright. Dylan, just such an aggressive move right there. And, 9 laps to go. Obviously, you got to give it your all, but it's almost no way that one was going to end without a big wreck. Nowhere for Dusty to go.
And it's Dusty right now.
Yeah. Though Dusty's going to get away with this. He did not clap the inside wall like Jeff and Massey did. Comes right there, Dylan Thomas in the middle, and just I mean that's such a late move that there's no way for Jeff to react, and at that point he's looking in his mirror trying to judge where Dylan Thomas is going to be, and he's drifting over to the left a little bit at that point. There's nothing to do. Gavel gets into whoever this is.
Bayuk.
Joe Francis. Bayuk, yep. A little bit of contact. I think those a lot of those shift cars are going to be all right here for this final charge to the finish. So, as we re-rack the field, it'll be Eisenman the leader, Austin Beers in 2nd, Mike Christopher in 3rd. We haven't heard from him all race. Got a little damage. Damian Leininger is 4th. He's got some nose damage. Joe Francis is in 5th. Ryan Barbieri's in 6th. Gavin Hibbs is in 7th. So those 2 are hooked together, but they are on the bottom. Ryan Gavel's in 8th. Matthew Bayuk's in 9th. Brendan Bach is 10th. Johnny Thomas is back up to 11th. Don't believe there's some damage on that car. Kyle Hanshaw is 12th. Seth Rawls is 13th. Nick Indelicato is 14th. Dylan Thomas is now 15th. Massey 16th. Dewar is 17th. Dewar should be clean. Dave Carpenter is 19th after, 19th after that big wreck earlier, and everybody else is a lap or more down, and likely not a factor. Whew. 5 to go and restart the race.
See if we can end this in regulation. My guess is probably not.
Yeah, really not. I'm guessing these guys are going to be making more of the aggressive moves that we just saw, and you may want to just sit back if you're, not maybe immediately in the top 3 or 4. I would probably just try to stay back at this point. Why play with fire if you're Ryan Gavel, Matthew Bayuk, Rawls, Delicato, even Dewar at this point? Here we go. Huge jump for Eisenman. That's probably not the move to get a big lead at Daytona. The pack swallows you up that much faster. That said, a lot of damage in this pack. Going to be difficult for anybody to get a quick run, get up to speed well. Leininger's falling back quick, and we got a wreck. Barbieri's around. And Delicato's going to be in it. Aaron Smith's going to be in it. Re-rack and do it again.
What was that about regulation?
Yeah, we're going to need those overtimes.
Wasn't even what I was expecting to happen.
I know, that was... Hibbs just gets into Barbieri. And Gavel put Leininger in the wall kind of coincidentally there. Delicato's disconnected. He's done. Barbieri check up? What happened there?
No, that was a checkup in front.
Oh yeah, there you go. He did check up. It's very similar to that Scott Crump, Andy Trupiano accident from way earlier in the race. Smith sees the smoke on the binders. Dewar on the binders. I think he got someone hit him from behind.
See?
Well, Thomas is going to be the culprit here, I think.
Just a little tap.
Yep. Ugh. Also willing to bet hit Smith locked him up once he saw Barbieri spinning back up onto the racetrack. Once that happens, you're just kind of along for the ride once those tires start to skid. Is going to come get that damage looked at now. That car did not go, and now it's got more damage.
Watch out on this restart. Francis and Hibbs are going to be on the outside in 4th and 6th.
There you go. We already picked our winners, and my winner is still in the top 10, but if I had to pick it now after knowing what I've seen from this race today, I'd hedge my bets on someone from the two you just mentioned. How about old Johnny Thomas sitting in 9th, though? I mean, he's kept it clean all day. He's missed the wrecks, played good strategy. He's been up front a few times. Definitely a strong opening day for Johnny Thomas. Yeah, let's talk to him. Johnny, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Hey, David, you got me.
Hey, we've been keeping our eye on you all day. Looks like you kept your nose clean for the most part.
Yep. Yeah, just trying to keep it clean out here. I haven't really, shown what I got, but I really don't know what I got either. I got new tires. There's a few guys in front of me that have 4 fresh tires as well. So 3Y doesn't work here too much. The cars are just too tight coming into the turn. I mean, we're hitting 204, 205, so they're going to start pushing a little bit. On new tires, though, and only 2 laps to get there, you're going to have to try to make it work. So we'll see what we got. Starting 9th. I don't know. Maybe something will happen.
What's the plan? Stay low where you can dodge a wreck, or go up to the top, try to push to the front?
I'd like to go to the top. The bottom's a safe lane where, if you stay there, you'll probably get 4th or 5th. But if you want to win it, probably go to the top, and if a hole does open up in the middle, try to shoot it. And the side drafts really work on these cars, so you could kind of bottom out that bottom lane and hopefully get a run and have some help behind you.
All right, who are you looking for around you to kind of help you go to the front here?
Well, I got my buddy Kyle in the back there. He's right behind me. Hopefully he's pushing me. Bayou works really good here. But a lot of these faces, I don't really know. Brendan, don't know Gavin too much, so it's kind of every man for themselves right now.
Johnny, a little sneak preview for you.
Yeah.
Gavin and Joe have led the whole race. I'd get with them. That would be my suggestion to you here before we go green.
Joe's one of the best guys at Daytona Talladega, so I'm not surprised he's up front.
Yep. Good luck to you, buddy. Have fun on these last 2 laps.
Yep. Hope you guys had fun.
It's the boss man, Johnny Thomas. We'll see what he can do. Maybe some new information for him there.
I just don't know if he's going to have enough time or ability to get to those 2. He's a row or 2 back of them. He's stuck on the inside, so it might be tough for him to try to team up with them. But see, sounds like it's going to be a 2-lap shootout here.
It is. It's going to be our first of the 2 green-white checkers. So if the caution comes out on this first lap, we will re-rack them and do it again. If the caution comes out again after that, that will be the race. If we get to the white flag and they wreck, there will be no caution. Come back around and get the checkered flag. Here we go. Drew Eisenman off to a big jump once again. I just don't know if that's the move, but also there's guys back here with some damage. Big run from Joe Francis. Francis is about to have a massive run on Christopher.
You gonna split the middle? Nope, go to the outside.
Going top is Joe Francis. Gavin Hibbs is pusher right there behind him. Bottom lane, though, trying to gather up. Ryan Gavel cuts to the inside of Beers. Beers to the middle. But Francis and Hibbs up top. They get sideways down to the bottom. They all save it. They're going to get there. Eisenman, they're still there. Still racing. Joe Francis leads them off 4. Go second. Oh, again once the caution came out. Rolls is in the wall. Carpenter in it as well. Joe Francis takes the yellow flag. Johnny Thomas is now 4th, by the way. All right, what happened here? Oh, man. What was... Gavel got hit by Bach? Who got into Eisenman? Maybe? And then that wasn't even the wreck. It was back there. It was Massey and Dylan Thomas, and then somebody clipped Rawls. And then bang, oh, Dewar gets hit by Bach.
Precautions out at this point.
All right, what happened to Seth? Bayou bobbles. They start to check for the caution, and Capuano runs over Rawls. That's what happens there. And Bach gets sent down the track. Hanshaw gets wrecked. Carpenter gets wrecked. Rawls, Bach, all wadded up. I can't believe that Gavel and Eisenman didn't end up getting sent to the inside wall there. Yeah, and Rawls, I mean, I don't even think Rawls got off the gas. crazy. We might need to go back to that restart too. Check that move that Francis and Hibbs made at the top. They are now 1-2, by the way. There's the onboard with Dave Carpenter, it looks like. Just, you know, the caution's about to be out right there, and then just nowhere to go. Good onboard camera there.
As we get ready to go, one final time. It's Joe Francis, Gavin Hibbs in your front row, Austin Beers, Mike Christopher, row 2, Matthew Bayuk, Johnny Thomas.
There's a restart.
Appiano, Drew Eisman, Dustin Dewar, and Ryan Garabble, your top 10.
Yep. Here's the restart. Yeah, Eisman got a really big run, and Francis and Hibbs laid off and kind of locked together. This was impressive right here. I mean, they cut to the top with a ton of steam, and you'll see them go from, what are they, 6th and 7th here to the lead. Now they're 1-2.
Impressive? Yes. Surprising? Not really.
Not if you've watched this race. Been talking about it all day. Them two have worked together very well. Look at that. Look how much speed they have. Behind them, those guys are bouncing off each other, those two.
You see how much
solid.
the
They've been there all day.
Jacked?
Yeah, this is a good view of that incident between Gavel and Eisenman and Bach. So here's what I think happened is when Beers cut to the middle, he side drafted the 77, which checks up the 0-1. 33's not ready for that checkup. He gets into the 0-1 who gets the 77. That's what happened there. And it got both of them out of that big wreck. Neither of them were involved. And now they're 8th and 10th.
Carlos, you did a great job following along with that explanation.
It's perfect. Yeah, Carlos is my graphics man. I've gotten 19 cars on the lead lap for this race, for this restart. And in theory, any one of them could get to the finish line first. There's damage on about 16 of them. But still, a chaotic second half at Daytona after a relatively calm first 55 laps or so.
All right, so there's a couple ways to play this. 2 cars to watch here are going to be Austin Beers, Joe Francis. Does Francis hold that bottom line up and let Hibbs get in front of him, or does he try to catch Beers trying to jump this to go with him, pull a big enough gap to allow Hibbs to drop down underneath him?
Or does Hibbs try to lead the second line, Francis leads the bottom, and they just say best man wins?
Yeah. So I guess there's really 3 ways to do it.
Yeah. Now those two have worked together very, very well. If they get together, nose to tail, at any point on this, I think that's the line the winner is going to come from. If they don't, we'll see. Green flag. Francis got a good jump. It will allow Hibbs to drop in if he wants it, and he does drop down. It's just like you said, Dom. They want that. They want to team up.
Now, if we get her on next time, does it turn into S-man wins here?
Oh, absolutely. You race it. You race together until you get to the last lap, and then it's every man for themselves.
Well,
Johnny
at
Thomas,
this point,
Mike Christopher's rear bumper.
Any caution, any flag ends it, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. So you do have to make your move here. It's once the white flag hits, then you're good, right? You can race all the way back around. But if I'm Hibbs, I'd probably think about going now, just in case the caution hits. Nope, they're going to try to hold this thing themselves. White flag is out at Daytona.
We will finish this one. Out.
Johnny Thomas, Drew Eisenman pushing Mike Christopher up the top lane.
Hibbs can't get up there now to make a run at his teammate. So
That's
it's going to have to be stuck together here.
Well, you got to go earlier. Here comes Francis up to the top. A big block. It opens the door for Hibbs. They're going 3 wide. Johnny jumps in behind Joe.
Spreading them out here.
Johnny's going to push Joe to this win. Look at this. Johnny gets Joe back to the lead. Christopher hung out. Hibbs on the bottom. Francis in the middle.
Gonna be who's got the better pusher here. Oh, heads around.
Here comes Johnny at the top. They're 3 wide. Francis spins the Johnny Thomas wins it. Johnny Thomas wins it at the line.
Dude, it's taken 3 years since we've been on here, but Johnny has not won since we have broadcasted a race.
I can't even believe it. What a move! Oh man, he's got to thank Austin Beers for wrecking both of the guys we were picking to win this race. Because he did. He just spun both of them out. But there you go. Johnny Thomas wins in Erskine. I think that is his first win, isn't it?
I believe so.
What
as far
finish.
as I can remember. I know he's had some solid runs while we've been on here, but I don't ever remember talking to him in Victory Lane.
I know we've talked to him a number of times. We've talked to him at Daytona a number of times as well. You know, you think back to that COT race last year. He had the lead on the white flag, wound up getting passed by Tate. This one makes the move, coming to the checkered flag, picks up the win. Let's see what kind of celebration old Johnny does. Maybe he does a Polish victory lap. Oh, he does the old burnout into the wall at the start-finish line. You love to see it. Belly Up Sports Car wins the Belly Up Sports 300. What a move. Official results are Joe Francis in second by 0.06 of a second. He was backwards. Drew Eisenman's going to finish third. That will be your podium. Those are the guys we're going to talk to. I'm very interested to hear Joe Francis' thoughts on this race. Beers finishes fourth. Matthew Bayuk, my pick, comes home in fifth. I'll take it. We're not doing the points like Carlos does in Osca. I sure would have liked to have that kind of a start, but Tom Capuano runs
first
sixth. No, it's a good start. Tom Capuano runs finishes sixth. Mike Christopher comes home seventh after getting hung out with a chance to win it there on that last lap. Ryan Gavel comes home eighth. Dustin Dewar to ninth. Dylan Thomas takes a wrecked car home 10th. Maybe the biggest disappointment, Gavin Hibbs comes home 16th. After a very strong run, had every opportunity to win it there. And just gets spun coming to the line. Let's see, we need Eisenman, we need Francis, and we need Johnny Thomas to the booth. So we can get these victory interviews. And I want to talk to Johnny, but we need to go get third place here. He's in the waiting room now. Drew, it's David in the TV booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it looks like you had a couple of chances to win there, man, but ultimately you do come home third. Pretty crazy finish. Take us through it. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, I know when I was leading on the first green, white checkered, the way these things bump draft, you just figure you're going to get driven into and moved out of the way. It's exactly what happened. Luckily, able to kind of keep the car underneath me, catch it through the grass, get it collected, and then just trying to find momentum on the last 2 laps. Figured the Highline would be the way to go and would have the most room to maneuver, and that's pretty much what happened. And then once Johnny made the move, I think from what I could see, he had the cleanest car, so I just went with him, and cool that I got to push him up there for the win and was able to secure third. So pretty happy with that, given the chaos of that last half of that race.
Yeah, I spaced completely on that move through the grass. Take us through that. Seeing that and a wreck in your mirror and a wreck out your windshield, just all that chaos, and then to take that, turn it around, and bring it home in third. You know, after kind of a rougher season last year, what does that kind of mean for you going forward? We're going to see you more often?
Yeah, I love these Gen 4 cars. I was planning on running as much as I could with the COT. Sometimes, life gets in the way. You fall back in points. You don't have the races that you want. You kind of lose some momentum. But I'm really excited for this, especially with the condensed schedule. It's really exciting. But yeah, I just thought I got driven into from whoever was behind me on that the backstretch on that restart, and you're just throwing the wheel into the slide, trying to catch it. And I don't know, I was surprised that I was able to kind of wrangle it back under control. But then you're just trying to get back up there and trying to get back in the groove and catch up, and you're hoping there's a caution, and there was. And yeah, it's just trying to not lose your cool, right? I know Cameron, my teammate, he got wrecked out early, but I was like, who the heck ran into the back of me? And he's like, well, he was getting shoved. And you're like, okay, I understand. But it's the nature of these cars on super speedways. You can't push. You just torpedo the guy in front of you, and it's going to happen late in the race when guys lose their patience, and there's really nowhere to go if they're getting pushed too.
Right, absolutely. And for what it's worth, it looked like you were also getting side drafted by a guy jumping to your middle. So I think you slowed up a little bit quicker. So tough. But ultimately, do you have any shout outs for us here before we send you off?
Yeah, first off, I want to shout out the 03 for just driving through like 3 cars, causing a huge wreck a few cautions ago. That was really cool and impressive to see somebody do that in a paid league race. Shout out to Cameron, my teammate in the 17. He got in a wreck early. I really liked the strategy we were putting together. I know he would have finished right here with me if he hadn't gotten caught up in that thing. Shout out to Johnny for both winning this race, putting this whole league together. I've raced with him for quite a few years now. So cool to see him get the win here at Daytona. Check out Eisen Designs on Twitter. If you need something done, honestly, just gives me an excuse to kind of run whatever I want to run on these paint schemes. And thanks to Carlos and everybody at 3YTV and y'all for broadcasting this thing.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations on the third, and just for what it's worth, your car is always one of the best looking ones out there. So congratulations, and we enjoy looking at your scheme. So come on out, run it again.
Thank you. Yeah, planning on doing full time. So looking forward to hopefully some more interviews, and thank y'all. Have a good night.
All right, good night, Drew. Now we'll grab second place finisher Joe Francis, and I'm very interested to hear all about this race from Joe's perspective. So, Joe, this is David in the booth. Hopefully, oh no, wait, I got Johnny. Whoops. We don't want Johnny. We want Joe. Joe's David in the booth. You got me?
Yes, I do. You got me?
Yeah, Joe, we got you. And, I hope you do get to watch this race back because, we were singing your praises all night long. And you looked like you had the fastest car tonight. You looked like you had the best position. You looked like you were ready to take it there at the end of the night. And ultimately, you fall just one spot short. Can you take us through what happened maybe on that last lap, and then maybe a little bit also before that during the race where you were kind of dominating there with Gavin?
It's hard to say whether you dominate or not because the first position is just, you're not that much further away from the rest of the field because make one mistake, then you're just back there with everybody else. So I don't think run at first is all that dominating. But yeah, it was a great race all around. But just it felt pretty good being able to stay up front as long as I could, especially even on that last lap. I feel like maybe I just should have stayed down and stayed with my buddy Gavin, but I also felt like we could have controlled the front too. It was just unfortunate Gavin got spun at the last second because I really thought he was probably going to get it if nothing else was mixed up, and I was really hoping for him to get it because he really deserves it too. But yeah, it was just a fantastic race all around.
Yeah, when it comes to a super speedway race like this, it comes terms to the inches, right? It comes down to how close it can be, and you and Gavin just seemed to work a little bit better together than everybody else did. On top of that, when Johnny dropped in behind you on the back straightaway, did you think, oh yeah, this is the moment, right? That you have a buddy coming to push you to the win, or, what was kind of your thought process there hitting turn 3 with the lead and maybe a chance at the win?
I wasn't expecting it immediately because when I first got up there, I saw, I don't know who it was to my outside, but I saw him go to my outside, so I was thinking, oh no, I messed up. But I saw Johnny get behind me, and I really felt like I would have been able to get to it, get the win at that point. But I mean, it's still a race; it wasn't over at that point, so I didn't blame Johnny going for the win, and that's a great win for him, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like we got you second by finishing backwards with your right rear. So, Joe, with all that being said, you got any shout outs for us here before we send you off?
Shout out to all Progressive Eagle and my parent team, Strictly Stock Motorsports. Shout out to Gavin because we've been racing together for 4 or 5 years now. We've known each other for a while, just been racing together, and we've done a lot of restrictor plate races together. And Shout out to Duck Press Media Solutions, my sponsor, and Chris Webb, who sponsors me. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And we could tell you guys have been racing together because you worked really, really strongly together all night long. So congratulations on the second, and just that close. Looks like the 29 got you there on our replays, but yeah, I think he was trying to help you, give you a shot to the win, and he just got up underneath you a little bit.
Yeah, I was hoping that would have been enough, but he said I don't think he touched anybody all race, and that was the first time he tried to really push somebody. But it is what it is. Yeah, it's funny, it's Matthew, because I have Matthew up on my Twitter banner from a quote of his.
Alrighty. Well, go check out Joe's Twitter also, everybody, while you're at it. And
oh, wait a sec. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One more shout out is my own personal business, Numbers by Joe. If you got a favorite iRacing number, I can turn it into a plaque so you can hang it up on the wall.
Interesting. Might have to send you a message or something about that. That's kind of cool.
All of my works are on my Twitter. You can check it out, see if you like it. Appreciate it, guys.
What's your Twitter?
Shout out to you guys for broadcasting too. You always do a great job. JOEF24 ever, because I'm a Jeff Gordon hack.
Hey, well, you got to run. Nobody ran a Jeff Gordon car in this one tonight, but maybe someone will bring one out next week. Good to talk to you, Joe. Thanks for coming out, and good race, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
As Joe Francis, maybe the dominant driver tonight, didn't seem to want to agree that he was, but let's go grab the man himself, Johnny Thomas, picking up the win today at Daytona. Johnny, finally, man.
It's been, 4 years?
Oh, man.
3 years, yeah. 4 years. We did it. We finally did it. I can't believe it. You guys interviewed me going to that green, white, checkered, and I was sitting ninth there, and like I said, that bottom lane will slow down a little bit. It's usually the lane to be in when you want to be up front and finish in top 5. But if you want to go for the win, you got to go to the middle, you got to go to the top, and it got pretty dicey that final lap, and I didn't know whether to go with Mike or Joe, but I didn't think the top had that good of a run, so I slid down to hit Joe and get him a good run, and then the bottom lane checked up again, and I was like, I got a good enough run coming out of 4, I'm gonna take it, and it would have been it was an awesome finish, but I think it would have been even cooler if Joe wouldn't have got hit there and spun out, but still, I can't believe we did it. I've been Erska isn't really about me as a driver. It's me trying to put together a good league, and I haven't dedicated a whole lot of time being a driver, and trying to win races, and I'm happy with the top 10, top 15. I just kind of want to see how all these other guys race, and there was a point last year where I didn't think Erskine was going to come back, and we decided to run this year and start off at Daytona, and for me to get a win, it's really, really, really cool. There's a lot of people that have helped me and helped Erska get to where it is, and to get it to continue to be a strong league. And man, this is cool. This is really, really cool. I don't win a whole lot, but Daytona and Talladega, I try to step up my game a little bit and end up in victory lane.
That's crazy that I took one home on Thursday. You took one home today, man.
That's awesome.
We're doing it right now. Good work for the guys, and the guys who don't always win. But take me through the kind of hanging back before that. Mm-hmm. The strategy to stay out late on the final green flag pit stop. How that kind of directly led to you gaining some track position and being in position to take home this win.
Yeah, other than those 3 late race cautions, the race was perfect. We had 2 green flag cycles. I was laying back, and the reason why I was laying back is I didn't feel comfortable in the car. We got wrecked on lap 1 in the qualifying race last week, so I had no experience in the draft, and I wanted to see how the tires would wear. And by lap 20, we were pretty good on older tires. Me, Drew, and Cam was really fast working that high lane, and the cycles fell where they needed to fall. I kept moving up. There wasn't a big wreck, so you had to work your way up, on green flag time. And that last cycle of stops, when everybody was either going short or going long on fuel, I went until about 15 to go, took 2 tires there, and I thought I was going to be in good shape, but I got too good of a pit stop, and I think it was Jeff and a few other guys that passed me. And then that big wreck happened, and we come down pit road and get 4 tires. This was throwback racing. This was throwback Daytona mid-2000s, where you wanted to come down pit road and get tires, and I felt comfortable to make moves, you know, in those last 10 laps with 4 freshies on it. So that's how we got through there, and that last, you know, like I said, that last lap was pretty nuts.
Awesome, man. Do you think those 4 tires kind of contributed to you being able to hold that top lane there coming to the checkered?
That whole group didn't have a ton of speed coming to the checkered. If I was hitting, you know, 204, 205, it probably would have mattered. But we were only doing like, you know, I don't know how fast we were going. We weren't going that fast, 199, 198. So
oh yeah, only 199.
It certainly probably helped. We had the momentum coming off the high lane, but hey, I don't know. We got it done. I can't believe we did it.
And celebrate, man. It's they don't always come around. You never know when the next one's gonna be. It's
That's
something
right.
I've had to learn myself on a lot of these, and I'm really happy for you because we've been working together for a long time, racing together for a long time, and it's good to see one of you guys get it. You know, one of the good guys get it. So maybe we can get Handshell one of these days.
We'll get them one. Before I go though, there's so many people we got to thank for Erskine. Mike Brown at Belly Up Sports. He's on my car every week, and if it's not Belly Up Sports, is one of his companies that he's advertising with, he's promoting, and he's been instrumental in helping out Erska. You guys at 3 Wide TV, Carlos, David, Dom, you've been awesome. Harpoon Designs, Brantley Road, making all these paints, making these banners. There's so many other sponsors along the way. Ohio Intra Express, Handshell's company. And past sponsors that have helped Erska grow, you know, Days Gone By and Brent Wentz and all those guys. They played a huge part, and we're going to continue it going, and this is a really good start this season.
Awesome, man. Any plans to broadcast the rest of them?
I hope. Hey, if anybody's listening, we need some sponsor dollars to get these races all broadcasted. It's an awesome schedule, and it's going to be a really good show with the group of guys we got.
I think I agree. This was a really fun race. So thanks, Johnny. And hey, congratulations. Go have a victory beer or at least, you know.
Yeah, I'll drink a Miller High Life. It's 11:30. We'll get one and going.
Alrighty, man. It tastes even sweeter when you come off a win. I can confirm.
Haven't won one since 2021 in anything. So that's good. It's been a long time.
Was your last one the Elite Daytona 500?
Yep, that was the last time I won.
You like this place, huh?
Daytona and Talladega is where it's at.
Alrighty, man. Well, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you next week.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
What a finish. What a night to open the season here in Erska. Got any final thoughts here, guys?
Yeah, absolutely a good one to end. Crazy finish, as is normally the case here with Super Speedway race. Really pumped to see Johnny win one, like we said, on the air here for a couple years now, and that's the first one we've been able to see him win. So that was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's really rewarding when, you know, he's bided his time. He's been a pretty clean guy, never really wrapped up in the drama, but kind of always had to control it. So really happy for Johnny, and hopefully he can get him another one even sooner. So all right, with that, I'm David Westergreen with Dom Santina, Carlos Acosta. This has been Belly Up Sports 300 on 3 Wide TV. Have a good one, everybody.